PRI and empowerment. Could you tell us something, Ingeborg, about how this method, how it works? What it consists of?
Yeah. So as I just said, PRI is more of a toolkit that people, will learn how to apply and become independent of the therapist, instead of a therapy that makes you dependent on the therapist who will then heal you. So what's in this PRI toolkit? Well, there are three main instruments that we teach people. The first instrument is self-observation, and this can be compared to what nowadays is known as mindfulness, which has become very popular recently. And self-observation in PRI is a method of becoming aware throughout the day of how you actually are feeling, what your emotional reactions are, what your thoughts are, how your body feels. So this is the first training. We help people to install what we call an inner observer. So you install an inner observer, and then you become aware most of the time of how you are actually feeling, because that's the first step. You need to become aware of what's going on with you in order to be able to do something with it. So that's the first tool. Then the second tool is what we call defense reversal. Once you are aware of how you're feeling and what your thoughts are, what's going on with you, you will then recognize which feelings, which behaviors, and which thoughts are actually defenses. And the defenses are what I have explained in other videos, are the lid that's closing off the tank underneath it, which is filled with all the experiences that were too painful for the child we were to process adequately. And therefore they keep on influencing our present-day lives, even though they are long past. So this is the second phase, where you recognize when these defenses are active, and we teach you a technique which is called defense reversal. Defense reversal means that instead of identifying yourself with the lid, which means thinking I am depressed, or I am afraid, or I am angry, to give just three examples, there are more. Instead of identifying with that, understanding that actually this is your consciousness fooling you, this is your consciousness tricking you into believing that the problem is really in the present. Instead, you can discover with PRI the problem is underneath. So this is the second instrument. You recognize the defenses and you learn how to reverse the defenses, which means you learn how to get through the lid, to start getting into what is hidden underneath. And that is the third instrument which we teach people, is how to actually go into this reservoir with old pain, so that you can look at it and realize that it's over. It might have been painful, but it's over, and you are now an adult, and it will never happen again, because we will never be that small child that was completely dependent, vulnerable, and at the mercy of whoever was there to take care of them or not take care of them. So once you are able to see these experiences in that way, what happens neurologically is that these experiences come to the surface, and they can now be processed with our adult mind, knowing, hey, this is how it was when I was really small, that was painful, but I've survived it, and it's over, and now I'm an adult and it won't happen again. So the experience changes from something that was still there in the reservoir, giving us impulses, all the time, that there is still something going on in the present. I don't feel good, or I'm depressed, or I'm angry. It changes into, this is the past. So I like to speak in metaphors. I see this big, like closet in front of me with all these drawers, and so this experience from the past can now be stored into the drawer, which says, this was very painful, but it is over and it will never happen again. This is a neurological process. So actually it's like we, place painful experiences from a part of the brain where they are seen as if they are still active, as if they are still applying to the present. They are changed from there. They're stored into a big, drawer full of this is over. And this tool is, together with the self-observation and the defense reversal, this is, you could say, what is the essence of PRI. And people learn how to apply this, and they can apply it whenever they need it.